Hey everybody, it's Brian again. Today I wanted to introduce to you guys a challenge for those of you who are looking for something to do, something a little extra, something a little bigger. Some of you may have played this game as children. It's called Mother May I. The way Mother May I works is as follows, okay? So let's read these instructions and I'll try to explain them as I go if they don't seem adequate. So Mother May I is a two or more player game in which players will ask Mother if they're allowed to take a certain number of steps toward the finish line. Before each player asks, Mother, who's the computer, will make up her mind about the largest number of steps she will allow between 1 and 10 inclusive. So for example, before player 1 asks how many, so player 1 may ask, for example, Mother, may I take 7 steps? So before player 1 even asks, Mother will decide if she will allow, for example, up to 6 steps, and this number is randomly decided. So therefore, player 1 asks if he may take 8 steps. Mother will say no, and it's the next player's turn. And then Mother will choose a new random max for that next player. So the first player to the finish line wins, and the finish line is 50 total steps. Okay, so basically the idea is this. Let's see if I can explain it another way, right? So the way the turn will go is, let's say I am Mother, which is the computer, and I'm going to decide I'll allow anything up to 4 steps. And then player 1 asks me, Mother, may I take 3 steps? I'd say, yes, you may. And then that person would get 3 steps. If they would have guessed anything more than 4, then I would have said no, and it's the next person's turn. Next person's turn, I choose a new maximum, right? So then after that, it's going to be, up to that max number, all right? There's a new maximum randomly decided between each turn. And it's kind of, if you're playing with an actual person, you can kind of rig the game. But since the computer is going to randomly decide, it is not going to be unfair. Okay, so let's see what the rest of the instructions say. Write a program that allows you to have up to 8 players. Okay, so there's going to be some input at the beginning, like how many players are playing. These players will be simply called player 1, player 2, etc. So that Mother, who's the computer, will randomly choose the maximum number of steps she will allow for that player. Allow each player to input the number of steps they are going to ask Mother if they can take. Mother will then say yes or no, or yes you may, or no you may not, depending on if that number is above or below or above Mother's randomly decided max. After each player's turn, this is kind of a tough part. This is kind of the fun part. After each player's turn, display a graphical representation of all players and their positions in relation to the finish line like so. Okay? So then you can kind of see after every turn, this is going to be updated. So each dash is 1 step. So that's 1 step, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So player 1 has moved 9 spots. Okay. This finish line, the way it works is that I'll just kind of give you a hint right here. This finish line should not be at 50, actually, because what you want to do is so that when player 1 gets to 50, the 1 is touching the finish line. So really, you need to have enough room for 50 dashes. And then 2 more for the P1 or P2 or whatever P you're talking about, okay? So this little line over here is going to be 52 spaces away, 52 spaces from the beginning, okay, just to make a room for player 1. So when player 1 is finished, essentially player 1 is going to look like, let's see if I can do this without screwing up all the formatting. Player 1 is going to look like this when they're finished. So right about, I think I went a little too far. So this is player 1 being finished. Now, I don't know if you go and count these if that's 50 or not, but it should be, okay? I think right now it's probably not, but make sure that this is what it looks like when player 1 is finished, okay? So then after, someone finally finishes, go ahead and display a closing game screen, okay? So kind of a fun project, actually, and you're going to be using some loops, you're going to be using some while loops and some for loops, especially for, printing the graphical representation. You're going to need to make decisions about, how many players that you're going to do and how, what the graphical representation is going to look like. You may find some use for arrays that I can't think of right now, but you may want to use some arrays. So see if you can do this. Remember, practice those abstraction ideas that we went over in the rock, paper, scissors video and in the pig video. I think those are going to come in handy. So good luck with Mother May I. I think it's really fun, and it's actually, if you finish it, it's actually pretty fun to play with several people. It's actually to see, especially with this graphical representation, it kind of helps. It looks like a race, so it's kind of fun. Good luck. Please message me if you want some hints or leave a comment. Hope you have fun with it, and then keep an eye out in the next couple hours or days for some solution-based videos on this. And don't peek if you don't want to, right? Only go to those solutions when you think you're done or if you're really, really stumped. Anyways, you guys, hope you enjoy this challenge. I'll talk to you soon. Happy coding.